Hey everybody, welcome to the second installment of Collection Talk. I'm the Hobby Drifter, talking again about some Japanese theatrical programs, the Souvenir pamphlets. These things have been selling in Japanese movie theaters for decades. Basically, any movie that gets an official release in Japan, you can buy a souvenir program for a few extra bucks as a little keepsake of the movie. It's a relic of a time before things like DVD and home media in general. And I've got a bunch of these things because for a very long time and continuing now for the most part, they are very cheap. You can get used ones at secondhand bookstores, usually for about 100 yen, and they're pretty cool. I'm going to talk a little bit about the Ghostbusters series, and then I'm going to answer some questions about living in Japan. So, yeah, here is the original Ghostbusters theatrical program. The movie came out in Japan in 1984 or 1985. 1984. Taking a look here. And it was a moderate hit. We got a little bit of swag released around the time of Ghostbusters. But these two copies here came from a secondhand store that I used to live right above. My very first solo apartment in Japan was located above a recycle store slash bodega slash place. And one of the things that I bought there early in my time staying was these Ghostbusters programs. And I want to say I paid about 100 yen each for them. And they had several in stock, so I bought a few of them. Never all of them. It's considered impolite to buy all of something, so you generally leave one copy. But like I say, these are not terribly rare. In fact, in the years prior, the years since then, I've had people ask me for a few of these programs because they're nice. They're a good way to little display piece or whatever. And so they would say, "Oh, hey, can you get me the Ghostbusters one or a Star Wars one or whatever?" And I would always, for popular ones, I would pick them up. I don't usually make any money off of these. Just throw them in a box when I ship them other stuff. But yeah, I have bought quite a few of these over the years. And if you ever do buy anything from my online store and ask me, I'll usually throw one of those in the box for you for free. So let's take a quick look at this. This is the original Ghostbusters 1. None of these have... Occasionally you'll find cool stuff that's been packed away inside, ticket stub or other advertising promos from when you were at the movie. All of these are naked. So let's flip through. It's the original Ghostbusters theatrical program. Right off the bat, you got some swag that they're selling. You can get the LP, compact disc, or what they call a picture record, which I'm not entirely sure what that is. Ghostbusters helmet, watch, stuff like that. And this, for the most part, is just screen captures from the movie or behind-the-scenes photos. Starts off explaining the premise of Ghostbusters. Here's the main cast. We'll get to that later. Sigourney Weaver's over here. The story is basically the entire plot of the movie. Again, kind of a holdover from a time when there wasn't really home video, so you'd get one of these, and this would be the way that you would remember seeing the movie. Tons of behind-the-scenes photos here. More cast. They bump poor Ernie Hudson all the way after William Atherton. I mean, I love William Atherton. He's hilarious. But this is kind of some bullshit that they stuck the fourth Ghostbuster, all the way in the back and under the cast after Annie Potts and Rick Moranis, and I mean, yeah. So we got a little bit more information on the making of the movie, photos from the film itself, talking about the special effects, and Richard Edlund, talking about the special effects of the movie, and then just some more shots. That's sort of stuff about Reitman and the artists who worked on the movie and the music. Ray Parker Jr. And production notes. It's fairly simple. Some credits, the staff, the cast, in English and Japanese, over here. And then a little bit more about some merchandise that's available. You get a Ghostbusters kite, campaign case. It's a pen case, by the way. It's like a metal pencil case. Oh, notebook. So yeah, this is the Ghostbusters theatrical program. They're still cheap. You find them in Book Off now. They're usually beat to hell, but they're still usually about $1, 100 yen, 108 yen. I also have I only have one of these for Ghostbusters 2, which is a little bit basic. I mean, it's not even full color. And mostly just shots from the movie, like not as much behind the scenes stuff. Very, very basic, very just, kind of there. They needed one, so here it is. Not even a very good shot of old Vigo. And they are trying to hawk the Laserdisc player, of course. And some very basic stuff cast. Yeah, this is not the best example of these. As far as 80s and 90s pamphlets go, this one is really, really bad compared to what else is coming out around the time. I don't remember Ghostbusters 2 making a terribly big impression here in Japan. Although we did get the amazing video game. The new Ghostbusters 2 video game for the Famicom was excellent. And because you're probably wondering, yes, I did buy the program for the remake, reboot, what have you. I didn't hate the reboot. I thought it was fine, but what always got me is, same with remaking RoboCop or movies like that, is if you're going to remake or reboot or reimagine one of the great movies of a genre, why settle for just okay? The RoboCop movie was the same way. Like the big kids, young adult type movies around that time, Ghostbusters, RoboCop, Back to the Future. Back to the Future is the only one where they really seem to have just been like, yeah, you know what, it's just about perfect. We don't need to reboot or revamp or anything. Just let that stand. You got the fine RoboCop. You got the okay Ghostbusters. I did like the director's cut of this. I thought that was, again, very fine. Not great, not bad, just fine. But the reason I bought this, and I mentioned how mediocre the Ghostbusters 2 program was. The Ghostbusters reboot, revamp, remake, they called it Answer the Call, I guess, after the fact. This version of the program included a free download of the original Ghostbusters or Ghostbusters 2 from Google Play. So you bought this thing for, I'm going to say it was 1,000 yen, and you got Ghostbusters for free on your phone forever. It's not a rental or anything, it's you own it. And so, I've got, on my phone, whenever I feel like it, I can watch Ghostbusters until basically the end of time. So, yeah, those are the Ghostbusters programs. This one back here, I don't know if it's sealed or resealed. And the other one down here is definitely a reseal. I should open this up, see if there's like a ticket stub or anything in here. So some people have asked me a few questions about living in Japan, and since I bought these things, my first solo apartment in Japan, I guess I'll talk a little bit about the process there. When I first came to Japan, I was staying with a friend. I enjoyed staying in Japan so much. I loved living here. I decided I wanted to stick around a little bit longer, and I got myself a job. I was very, very lucky in that respect. A company the next town over had a vacancy they needed filled very quickly, and I was there and kind of ticked the boxes for a temp. Wound up sticking around there for many, many years, but got my foot in the door just through blind luck. And when I did that, though, I had to deal with a 3-hour commute each way to work every morning. I had to leave my friend's place at 5 in the morning, commute 3 hours across several trains to another town, work 8, 9, 10 hours at the office, and then commute back. It was expensive. It cost about $600 a month to do that, and it was incredibly time-consuming. And this was the era before smartphones, so you can kind of figure out. I got a lot of reading done. I got to study a lot of Japanese. Got to learn how to read hiragana, katakana pretty quick. Did a lot of people watching. So it was a time. But, so as soon as possible, as soon as I got my visa, the company helped me to get an apartment. And that's, in order to do that, if you're not a Japanese citizen, and in some cases even if you are, you need to find a guarantor to basically say that if you flee the country without paying your rent, they're on the hook for it. You have to find the guarantor. You have to usually pay first and last month's rent, plus a little bit of extra money. That is essentially, they call it key money, but it's essentially just like a bribe to the landlord to let you stay there. No, that's not always the case anymore. They're kind of doing away with that. But generally, yeah, your first to move into your first apartment is not a really cheap affair. However, this apartment was incredibly cheap. I paid about $600 to move in, and that is because the monthly rent for this place was 28,000 yen per month, which worked out at the time to about $260. It was tiny. It was smaller than most bedrooms in houses I'd been in the U.S. It was one room, the giant picture window, your washing machine, to wash your clothing, was on the balcony outside, and you had a unit bath, toilet, shower, bathtub, tiny but cheap. And this place was especially cheap because the location was bordered on one side by the main street for the city, and bordered on the other side by 2 different train lines, the local monorail type train and the JR train. So it was loud. The building on the bottom floor was your bodega place. They sold candy, used books, used jeans, CDs and stuff. And then in the back, just more porno than you could possibly comprehend. It was, not super classy. And I didn't find out until over a year later, because I couldn't read kanji very well, that the top floor of this apartment was also an adult video training school, which I kind of assumed was like a joke, ha ha ha. But no, like they would actually like shoot like movies there, which I guess they would then sell at the apartment, on the first floor. Most of my neighbors were either other salarymen who just needed to live close to the train or to their offices, or like, I don't know how to say it nicely, Yakuza affiliated snack hosts and hostesses that they would stick like 3 or 4 to a room, because the area down the street was all like, snack bars and the like, which are like a Japanese type of bar. So you had, them coming in at 4 o'clock in the morning, after work finished. So yeah, it was a very exciting time. If you are, coming to live in Japan, it's just some stuff maybe to think about asking before you, decide to choose an apartment. Some of them can be very small, and they can be interesting. I stayed in that apartment for about 3 years, and the landlord was like he looked like a cartoon yakuza with the punch perm and the blue suit and I don't know, he was very efficient. If there was a problem with like the radiator or whatever, he'd come and fix it pretty quick. But yeah, it was exciting. So that's going to be all for this edition of Collection Talk. Thanks for listening to me talk about Ghostbusters stuff and about what it can be like to get your first apartment in the land of the rising sun. If you have any questions, anything you want to hear me talk about in future videos, let me know down in the comments. And happy hobbying.